Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, the 23rd day of the fast. And as we've done already in this video series in 2026, sometimes we go a little bit forward in time, sometimes we go a little bit back in time. Today we'll go a little bit back in time. And the reason for that is that in the ancient Lenten Triodian, this particular week was the week of the publican and the Pharisee. Now, in the modern Triodian, this week, it's the veneration of the cross, and the parable of the publican and the Pharisee is now at the beginning of the pre-Lenten cycle. So in a way, that's why we're going a little bit backwards. But many of the texts this week in the Triodian refer to the parable of the publican and the Pharisee, and also to the cross as well. So I wanted to take one of those texts from the fourth Tuesday of the fast and hear again about the publican and the Pharisee, and then we can connect that with a text from the diary of a Russian priest. So one of the texts on this Tuesday of the fourth week is, "Consider, my soul, how the vainglorious Pharisee was condemned because of pride, and how the humble-minded publican was justified through confessing his transgressions. Make haste to reject the Pharisee's rash self-assurance and to follow the publican by confessing thine offenses. Through control of the passions, rouse yourself to attain the exaltation which cannot be abased, conferred on thee by Christ in his great mercy." And of course, in the parable, we're trying to flee from the pride of the Pharisee. We're trying to run towards the humility of the publican. And humility is that the publican is justified by confessing his transgressions. And we cannot underestimate how important it is in the normal spiritual life for all of us to confess our sins, whether that be in the sacrament of confession or on a daily basis, being able to go to God and asking for his forgiveness. This should be an ongoing and regular thing. And so let's connect that with one of the excerpts from Father Alexander's diary of a Russian priest. And he writes, "Our lack of compassion, hardness of heart, and mercilessness towards others form an impenetrable curtain between ourselves and God. It is as if we had covered a plant with a black hood and then complained because it died from lack of sunlight." As I read that second part of that, I was trying to think of myself of a funny example that I had done in my life, and I can't think of something just off the top of my head. So I leave that to everybody to think of something where our logic goes completely astray. And what a beautiful example that is of covering up the plant and then complaining that it doesn't get sunlight. And again, maybe that's a little work we can all catch ourselves in today if something like that happens. But he lists sins. He lists lack of compassion, hardness of heart, and mercilessness towards others that somehow form an impenetrable curtain between ourselves and God. If we connect that with the text that we read from the Lenten Triodian, we can see that how important confession is, to be able to go and say to God, we're sorry, that we could use the imagery of that curtain that Father Alexander mentions, that in being able to confess something, it actually lifts the curtain. If we leave it as it is, if we just stay with our lack of compassion, our hardness of heart, our mercilessness towards others, and leave it there, there is a barrier that goes up between God and us. And not to be corny, but I'll do this now as an image as we're listening to this video, that I'll cover up the camera. And so this is when we have the lack of compassion, hardness of heart, and mercilessness towards others. But when we confess our sins, the veil is lifted. And we're back in communion with God. And so, again, it's a very important thing for us to remember how important it is to be reflecting on ourselves, catching ourselves in our sins, and being able to go to God asking forgiveness, and knowing that he is merciful as he was to the publican, who was a horrible sinner, but in confession was justified. So we can leave today because today is St. Patrick's Day. And so we can look at the life of St. Patrick as an example to connect this text from the Triodian and the text from Father Alexander as to the way that we would go about things. So one of the stories from the life of St. Patrick is that he had once confided to a friend that he was troubled by a certain sin he had committed before he was 15 years old. The friend assured him of God's mercy and even supported Patrick's nomination as bishop. Later, he turned against him and revealed what Patrick had told him in an attempt to prevent his consecration. Many years later, Patrick still grieved for his dear friend who had publicly shamed him. And imagine how that would hit us, and that phrase being mercilessness towards someone, that in confidence that you shared something with someone and they were telling you that go ahead and share it, God is merciful, and then they use that against you down the road. How what a blow that would be. But Patrick did not remain mercilessness towards that man, and he grieved for him as he continued throughout life. So on this particular day, through the prayers of St. Patrick, may we be guided along the path of confession and lifting that veil that separates us from God as we sin, and being able to lift that up again through our acknowledgement of what we've done wrong. Glory to Jesus Christ.